After playing his only high school football season in the state of Florida at IMG, Ronaldo wanted to stay in the area, and he decided to go to Miami. He was tight that his first ever practice was in the pouring rain, and he thought, maybe I made a mistake. And after having a couple of good plays in the beginning of practice, Ronaldo would go on to have a terrible rest of practice, questioning whether this is the sport for him. He was tight after the QB didn't look for him on this designated screen for him, but he really couldn't do anything because he was a freshman. In their first game as the second string running back, Ronaldo ended up somehow on the field goal unit. I guess because he was 6'2" and had some long arms, but man, that could just be some bad coaching, not gonna lie. Miami was making easy work of in-state Florida Atlantic, which led to Ronaldo finally getting a chance in the game, and with his first carry would take it 15 yards down the middle. They let the starter go ahead and run it in a couple plays later in the goal line, and you can imagine when they put Ronaldo into lead block on this run, my man whiffed something crazy, but his morale skyrocketed after his first touchdown in his career. Ronaldo turned shit up on his first play of practice the very next week, and he would end up taking the run all the way home for a touchdown, improving his coach's trust, but things only got worse from there. The defense had enough, and they were stuffing Ronaldo for barely any gains at this point until he squeaked through the middle of the defense and got another big gain, but that just turned the defense up even more. They would yoink my guy Ronaldo something crazy, treating him like a little boy, and then blow his ass up a couple plays later. The defense was swarming on Ronaldo, but any opportunity he got, he took advantage of the openings. And after a good enough practice, he was sure to see more playing time against Florida, the in-state opponent. But these dudes aren't in the ACC, they play SEC football, and they were laying the boom on my guy. Tyler Van Dyke would find Keyshawn Smith, the best receiver on Miami, for a touchdown in the back of the end zone. And just before the half, when they're trying to get some more points on the board, Florida would intercept this pass, killing all momentum. But by the fourth quarter, the Gators had yet to even score a point, and this turnover would end the game. Miami would start 2-0. Nah, this is actually the strangest practice I've ever witnessed, because why the hell did Miami come out in this offense? They came out in an offense that was popular in the 1950s. Like, wishbone is crazy. They went to something a little bit more traditional by the end of practice, but I was just flabbergasted at those first couple plays. And after my man Ronaldo caught this screen pass, he reconsidered life the way he got blown up. But with an FCS opponent on the schedule, Miami should take full control of this game, and Ronaldo should have a bunch of opportunities, and he wouldn't capitalize on this one when they were down 7-0. Miami would eventually take the lead just before halftime, but the FCS team was in it. I mean, it was only a one possession game late in the fourth, and for a team this talented, it didn't make any sense why they were struggling. Coach would end up punishing them for that sorry ass performance they put on against a terrible team, so he made them practice, and hey yo, this man just broke his neck. Nah, the way this Miami defense be violating Ronaldo in practice is something disrespectful. After my dog got smoked on this play, he would fumble and all of his trust would disappear. But Miami had to worry about their third Florida opponent in this season, this time being a South Florida team that really wasn't all that talented, even though they were 2-1. Even though Ronaldo wasn't one of the best running backs on his team, he was a great athlete and he was versatile, but he just wasn't really getting the goal line opportunities. But it didn't matter as long as Miami won. Miami was running this trap play to perfection, kicking out the defensive tackle, and every time Ronaldo was getting a first down, his confidence was slowly rising, and when he got this angle pass, he would catch it over the middle and make 3 Miami defenders look silly on his way to the touchdown. Touchdowns aren't easy to come by in practice, so the fact that he got that one just made his coaches trust him even more. But Miami and Ronaldo's focus quickly shifted to Georgia Tech, a 3-1 team who had a really stout defense, and not just in the running game, because in the passing game, they would end up intercepting this pass near the sideline and taking it into Miami territory, setting themselves up. Miami's defense did a great job of getting the ball back, so Georgia Tech couldn't get any points out of it. But in the fourth quarter, after a touchdown and a failed 2-point conversion by Miami, the game was in the hands of Tyler Van Dyke. He would complete this bomb down the sideline, going all the way for the go-ahead touchdown. And Georgia Tech needed a miracle, but the Miami defense stood up, and Georgia Tech just didn't have enough in the tank to pull this upset out. Miami was looking to be a top 10 team. After doing a good enough job in practice and in the past couple games, Ronaldo would finally have an opportunity to challenge for the number 1 running back spot. But I can assure you it was far from sweet, because even though Ronaldo had a great run on this play and he got so close to taking over that number #1 spot, he just couldn't get the job done. But since Miami was on a bye week, he had another opportunity right away. But the defense was going crazy, and this Miami safety who had on number 20 came down like he was Ed Reed for real. And then this D lineman came in and ragdolled Ronaldo like an infant, so he wouldn't get it again. But all those practices in the rain must have finally paid off, because Miami found themselves up by 14 against North Carolina in the rain at their place. But by the fourth quarter, North Carolina was knocking at their door, and this interception in the back of the end zone was critical. UNC would have another chance on this 4th and 5, but the Miami defense would step up and hold them. And this was really the longest 2 minutes ever, because after Miami couldn't convert on this 3rd and 9, UNC got the ball back again, but they couldn't do anything with it, and Miami would finally kneel it out. After another crazy week, this had to be oh my god, like I was saying, this had to be Ronaldo's best chance at earning the #1 running back spot, and this long touchdown run would pretty much seal it. Miami took on Wake Forest in Ronaldo's debut, and the elusive and versatile Ronaldo would be involved on the very first play, catching that ball. He wasn't really getting a lot of touches on the ground yet, but his contribution in the passing game was noted, and I could see why he wasn't getting a lot of touches on the ground. This man just couldn't get past the line of scrimmage, and whoever that tight end is needs to be tested for steroids immediately. Again, Ronaldo just couldn't get anything going in the running game, but in the passing game, this was his shit. These huge couple of catches was finally setting Miami up to put this game away against 3 and 4 Wake Forest. But something's up, because this man Ronaldo stays getting blown up. They were trying to get the ball in his hands in a more creative way, and they put him in the Wildcat, but that shit didn't work either. And just like that, Wake Forest made it into a 1-possession game, and Miami would go back to Ronaldo in the air, and he would set them up into good position, and finally would get something positive on the ground with a win in his debut. This was very clearly the biggest game of the year for number 5 ranked Miami, as they were taking on a 2 and 5 Florida State team. So this was a trap game all the way, and I just had to show you all this hit because my man did a full split. Hey yo, pack his ass up. After Ronaldo struggled in the running game in his debut, he would finally get things going against Florida State, their rival. And Tyler Van Dyke would do something crazy on this play, spinning off the tackle, pitching to Ronaldo, who would take it in for the touchdown. Ronaldo would get another chance at Wildcat quarterback, this time getting positive yards, and everything was looking good against this 2 and 5 Florida State team. And that catch just before the half would help set them up for this field goal that would extend the lead to 13. By the fourth quarter, it was a 10-point game, and Miami did a great job avoiding the upset to this Florida State team that easily could have did it. Miami was the number 3 team in the country, and Virginia Tech was trying to become bowl eligible, so both teams had a lot to play for. Obviously, Miami wanted to stay in the national championship race, and Virginia Tech needed to get in that bowl. And in Ronaldo's 3rd start at running back, he was finally feeling himself. He got up flexing on these little boys. He would take this run and set Miami up for the touchdown from the 1-yard line. And by the 3rd quarter, Virginia Tech was putting up points of their own, and it was a 3-point game. I'm telling you, Virginia Tech was not playing around. They would score this touchdown to go ahead, and Miami needed to turn it up. And who else would they go to on a critical 3rd and 8 with the game on the line but Ronaldo, who would set them up inside the 25, and then would be the lead blocker for this Tyler Van Dyke touchdown. Miami's defense would make one final stand on 4th and 3. Now, the Dukies was not playing around, and even though Ronaldo wasn't able to get much going in the running game, he was doing a great job contributing in other ways. And on 3rd and goal, when Duke thought that Miami was going to throw it, they would run this halfback draw, and Ronaldo would take it in for the touchdown. As the half was fast approaching, Miami was trying to get something going to get some more points on the board, but on this 3rd and 14, they did a little bit too much. They would throw this interception, which would get returned all the way inside the Miami 10, which would set up a Duke touchdown before the half, and now they had all the momentum. But after a huge stop on this 3rd and 1 and the Duke star running back getting hurt, Miami found a sliver of hope. Yo, they gotta stop violating Ronaldo with these hits. There's no way my man just did a 360 and pop like that. Ronaldo said bet, and the next time he had an opportunity, he was going to try to take someone else out, and he cut blocked this dude on the way to a touchdown. Miami ran another halfback draw on 3rd and 3, this time going to the 1-yard line, and Ronaldo will be able to punch it in, putting this game away and avoiding the almost upset against a 3 and 6 team. There's no shot they put this man Ronaldo in at quarterback and actually gave him the option to throw it. He said, hell no, I'm not built for that life, and would just run it down the sideline for a 16-yard gain. And Virginia must have had a blown coverage on this play because Ronaldo was wide open. At this point, Miami was the #2 team in the country, and all they had to do was win out and they'd be in the national championship game. But this Virginia team wasn't going to make it easy because Virginia found themselves up by 4 late in the third quarter, and the offense needed to stop playing around. This is when Ronaldo would catch it and bring it into Virginia territory before the fourth quarter, and Ronaldo would end up scoring the go-ahead touchdown here, keeping their national championship hopes alive. But they had to take on another tough opponent at Pitt. Ronaldo would end up taking one of the first plays of the game for the longest touchdown of his career, and after star wide receiver Keyshawn Smith got hurt in the first quarter, the Miami offense needed to rely more and more on Ronaldo, this time in the passing game. After helping set up a Miami touchdown on that drive, he would single-handedly bring Miami all the way from inside their own 30 just before the half to try and get some points up. With 0 timeouts remaining, he would catch this pass and he needed to get out of bounds, and he would do just that, setting up the field goal. Miami was rolling on the back of Ronaldo, and he would get his first ever Player of the Game award, but they couldn't take the foot off the gas yet. The winner of this game was going to go on to the national championship. #2 Miami was taking on #3 NC State in the ACC championship game. Miami would jump out to a 7-0 lead, but this game was far from over. Ronaldo would get smoked on this play, and I don't know if he had a concussion, but he just wasn't as effective later on. Just as Miami was knocking on NC State's doorstep trying to get another touchdown, they would intercept this pass in the end zone and take it all the way back for a touchdown. Before you knew it, Tyler Van Dyke would throw another interception. This time, the defender would take it all the way inside the 10-yard line, setting up another NC State touchdown, taking the lead. This was one of the biggest choke jobs in recent college football history, and Ronaldo wasn't trying to let this go down like that. But one man can only do so much, and this man, Tyler Van Dyke, would end up fumbling and NC State would recover. But with one final opportunity late in the game, Tyler Van Dyke would throw another interception, his 4th of the game and his 5th turnover, costing Miami a spot in the national title game, ruining the perfect season. Miami's consolation game was the Orange Bowl, basically a home game against #5 Alabama, and it was evident early on Miami had yet to see a team as talented as this Alabama team. The Miami offense was struggling early on, but their only hope was Ronaldo, who was doing everything from them, from catching passes to running through guys over the middle. But after having such a disappointing loss in the ACC championship game against NC State and losing their chance to play for the national title, I don't think Miami was very motivated in this game against Alabama. But let me stop making excuses, because this Alabama team was just built different, and they were just doing anything they wanted to against this Miami team at this point, and they were up by 24. Miami would finally cut it down a little bit, but anytime they would score, Alabama would answer right back. Ronaldo would end up getting the ball late in the fourth quarter on this screen pass, but it was really just to pad his stats and get this touchdown because Alabama won in convincing fashion. And Ronaldo started to think if he should move back to Portugal. This football shit is different. Subscribe if you got this far and let me know if you want to see another season.